Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Nice for you to join me for a quiz review, our Unit 1 um, assessment. Now, on my screen here, I'll be showing you all the things that you need to know for your Unit 1 assessment tomorrow. If you go through these and spend time to do your little research or to look through your notes for these answers, you will be all set and ready to go for tomorrow. I just completed the exam and it's not that difficult if you know the following things. If you don't know it, then it's going to be really difficult for you. So here it is. Make sure that you spend time going through these, okay? So the first thing is coming to us from Unit 1, Lesson 1, and Lesson 2. We need to know how to find things that are congruent just based upon the congruent statement. So I'm going to write out a congruent statement, and I'll show you what I mean. A, B, C is congruent to triangle XYZ. Okay. Now, from this statement, what must be true? Well, there's a few things that we can see right off the bat. Because the congruent statement is written in this order, we can tell which angles and which sides are congruent without drawing out triangles, without doing any of that thing. We can see that angle A is congruent to angle X. We can also see that angle B is congruent to angle Y. And lastly, we can see that angle C is congruent to angle Z because of the position that they have in the congruent statement. Now, we can see that line AB is congruent to line XY. We can also see that line BC is congruent to line YZ because of the position that it has. Now here's the trick part. Line CA is congruent to ZX because of their position. Okay? Now for the most tricky part, I'm gonna leave this up on the screen. I'm just gonna write it and you determine if it is congruent or not. I'll give you like a couple seconds to figure that out, then I'll tell you, okay? So C angle CAB is congruent to angle ZXY. Is that a true statement or false statement? Correct, you got it. It is a true statement, okay? Because of the way that they appear in the congruent statements. If you're not sure how we got that, it would be C, after C comes A, after A comes B. That is the right order. It goes from Z to X, and then after X comes Y. That is still the correct order. So this is a perfectly correct statement. Okay. Now, if you can do that, if you have that down, please make sure that you review this. This is from Unit 1. Unit 1, Lesson 1 and 2. Okay, so for reference, you can go and see that. Now the second thing that I want to bring to your attention is looking at two triangles and proving if they're congruent from the information that is given. This, of course, is a big part of the test. And as a result, this is mostly what we did this unit. Okay, so if you are given this angle, let's call this triangle ABC. And this triangle DEF. Okay, said that these two angles are congruent. Okay, also said that this angle and this angle are congruent. Which piece of information, or what is a missing piece of information that you need in order to prove that this is a side angle side problem? Or what piece of information is missing to prove that this is side angle side? Okay, there's many ways to approach this problem. I would personally take a look at what I already have. And over here we have an angle, and over here we have a side. I can't talk right now. Here's a side and here's an angle. What I would do is see what else is missing. I have one side and one angle. So based on this postulate, it means that I would need another side. So in order to get that, now I have to figure out which side. Is it BC or is it AC? You got it. It would definitely be AC, because when you have AC in, you now have side, then angle, and side, whereas the angle is in the middle. And for this postulate to be true, the angle has to be in the middle of two sides, just as what it says. So as you can see, we have a side, an angle in the middle, and then a side right at the end. Okay, that's how you can tell if they are indeed a side angle side. Okay, so the third thing that I'll need you to do is to have the following keywords written in your notes, because you will be able to use your notes on the test. So make sure that you have these keywords written down and you know their meaning. I'll just write them out for you. The first one is reflexive property. Make sure you know what that is. The second one is vertical angles. Ensure you know what that is also. The third one is midpoint. Okay, you should have these already, but I'm just highlighting them so that you know exactly what the words that you should have are. And finally, the last two are bisects and the last one is vertex, which you should already know. We never really spoke about this in class, but this is from way before. vertex is basically one of the edges of the triangle. Could be up here, could be right there, could be right there. Those are all vertex, where the two lines meet. Okay? All right. Moving on to the fourth thing that you'll need. The fourth thing is I would like you to make this chart, which I think is very useful. Over here, we have all the postulates that are always true. So if you remember, we have side, side, side. We have side, angle, side. We have angle, angle, side, angle, side, angle. We have HL, and we have C, P, C, T, C. Okay, and over on this side, what I want you to write is what is needed So what would be needed for this postulate to be true? You got it. It would be 3 congruent sides. For this one to be true, it is not 2 sides and an angle. It is 2 sides with the angle in the middle. That would look something like this. Have one congruent side here, another congruent side here, and the angle is in the middle of the two. This is what side angle side is. Up here, it would be 3 congruent sides. Angle, angle, side means that you need 2 congruent sides, 2 congruent angles, sorry, and a side that is not in the middle. So you would have 2 congruent angles and a side that's not in the middle. Angle 1, angle 2, and either this side or that side. So the angle is not in the middle. Angle, side, angle. Angle with the side in the middle, and then angle 2. Okay. HL, you will need for HL for it to be a right angle, and you must have the hypotenuse congruent and one of the legs. It could be this one or this one, doesn't matter. So the 3 things that it needs for HL, once again, it must be a right angle triangle, and the hypotenuse must be congruent, and then one of the sides, one of the legs, that is. Okay. HL stands for hypotenuse leg. You can only have a hypotenuse if it's a right triangle. Okay. And now finally, CPCTC requires you to have 2 triangles already proven to be congruent. So for example, if the triangle was proven to be congruent by HL, then all the sides and all the angles will be congruent. And that's basically what CPCTC represents. After you prove them to be congruent, the next step is to say that all of the sides and angles are congruent with their counterparts. Okay. All right. Now, with that said, the last thing that you will need to be successful is the biggest part of what I've been trying to tell you this whole time, is to annotate, annotate, annotate. Okay, so you have two triangles. You must annotate what they tell you or what you can prove. Okay, don't go buck wild just annotating everything. That's not going to give you the correct answer. You annotate what they tell you. So if this is triangle ice, and this one is triangle hot, and it tells you that there's a line in the middle from this point, the vertex, down to here, and there is a point from here down to this line, both of them, from the vertex to this line, and you must draw that line. If it tells you that IC is congruent to HO, then you must say that those two are congruent by drawing your hash marks. If they say that line CD and OS are bisecting the triangles, then you must show that they are by putting in the hash marks to show that these two lines are congruent. If they say, if it shows that that there is an angle, if it tells you that angle I and angle H are congruent, you need to put that in. Whatever they tell you, you have to put that into your triangle. Okay? If they say that this line is perpendicular, then you need to put in your right angles to show that it is perpendicular. Okay? I'm sure you guys get the gist of what I'm saying because you've been doing this in class the whole time. Lots and lots of times. Okay? All right. So with that said, happy studying. Make sure that you practice, practice, practice. Go through the assignments that I gave you throughout class time. See if you can do some of the challenge questions that we didn't get a chance to do in class. And that will help you to prepare. Okay? So make sure you have all this down under your belt. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. You get to take the test and master it. Okay? All right. Have a great day. Enjoy.